his audition as the interim produced some serious numbers. They averaged 46 points a game. They won 4 straight games when he took the interim role. He's been at ECU since 2020. He was defensive coordinator there before taking over. And during the search, I remember talking to athletic director John Gilbert, and he was sort of updating me on the search. And I'm talking to him at a game, and I was like, "What about this guy over here? Like every week he seems to be winning." So I think for John, it was just a terrific answer. Someone that players had familiarity with, that understood the culture, that knew the personalities, and I love the way they ended the season. Blake got the head coaching job permanently before the end of the season. Then they went into the Military Bowl and whooped up on NC State, which was a terrific result for our conference. And I'm just really happy for him personally, because I know how bad he wanted the opportunity to take over full time. So with that, we'll bring up Blake.
Appreciate that. Just want to say a huge thank you to the commissioner, to the conference office, and the American Conference. In my time with the American Conference, I've witnessed tremendous growth on and off the field, and I'm proud to be a part of a conference that continues to rise and soar. Also want to say a special thank you to Tim. Just your support that you had for me last November means a lot to me and my family. Thank you. I'm fired up to be the 23rd head football coach in East Carolina. There's no better place in my mind. It's a special place. It's a special place in Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium, Greenville, and Pirate Nation. Thank you to our fans. Thank you to Pirate Nation for making it a place where football matters. The momentum we have coming off last season and into this spring has been awesome. And as I tell our players, you can't take one single play from last season into this season, but you can take that confidence. 2025 is a new year, it's a new team, it's a new season. I'm excited about our team and I'm excited about this group. And today I brought 2 tremendous young men with me that represents our football team. First of all, I got Raheem Craig on the defensive side of the ball, an outside linebacker. He's a senior who graduated in May. Raheem is from up the road in Taylorsville, North Carolina, about an hour away. Raheem brings energy to our building, to our program, that's relentless every single day, not just on the field or at practice, but in everything he does. I think some of the folks saw that on the baseball diamond last night. We sure didn't see him hit the baseball. Also with us is our quarterback, Caden Hauser. Caden's our returning starter. Came on at the end of the season last year and finished really strong for us. And it's our first return time we've had a return starter at quarterback at that position since the 21-22 season. His commitment to being a Pirate, and just loves being loves Greenville and loves being a Pirate. I think it says a lot about who he is, especially this day and time and the current landscape of college football. What I'm most proud of Caden about is his leadership and the role he's taken on in this offseason, and he's leading from the front. The rest of our football team, we lost 22 seniors, 22 special young men that laid the foundation. But we've welcomed 53 new players into our team, 23 true freshmen. What I'm most pleased about in our locker room, with bringing 53 new guys into our locker room, is the way they welcomed those guys in. The way we welcomed those guys in, but kept the focus on the team. Our roster is made up of 40% of first and second year players. With 40% of your first and second year players is going to become youth, but with that youth becomes guys that bring energy, guys that are ready to compete and go out and they're hungry. We got some key returning players each side of the ball, some vets. I think you look at returning starters, it may not be that impressive number, but we've done a really good job the last several seasons of playing a lot of guys, adding a lot of depth. So although some of those guys haven't been starters full time, they've played a lot of snaps, played a lot of football. So I'm excited about those guys. Through the portal, we also did add some experience there. I think overall we have 28 seniors on our football team, so I'm excited about the older young men in our program as well. Our staff has been unbelievable, and I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for our staff. I'm just really proud of the way they mentor and lead our young men, and doing a great job there. This offseason, we've had a really good offseason, in my opinion. Through the first 3 quarters, we broke it down into 4 quarters in an offseason. Your winter training, your spring practice, your summer training, and we're getting ready to start the fourth quarter. Here on Sunday, we report Sunday, we open the season on August 28th with a Thursday night game. So we report Sunday, our first practice is Monday morning, and we got a lot of work to do. We know that. We're excited to go attack the next 34 days. You know, our big focus this offseason, as we go through the training, as we go through it, has been just everything we do, whether it's the weight room, whether it's practice, whether it's classroom, is doing it with relentless effort, intense energy, discipline, and execution. In closing, I'd just like to say this. It's been an honor to serve our players, serve our community, serve Greenville, our university, and Pirate Nation. You know, it's an honor to be a part of the American Conference. It's a competitive league full of a lot of good coaches, a lot of good players. I'm excited about what's ahead. I'm excited about the 2025 season. At this time, we'll open up for questions.
Thanks, Coach. We'll take questions. Please raise your hand, and we'll get to you with microphones. We have 3 on the right side, 4 on the right side. We'll start with Justin and move our way to Richard, and then a couple in the back.
Hey, Coach. Justin Jones from CarolinaGridiron.com. Your coaching philosophy is emphasizing fundamentals, discipline, and adaptability. Given all of your new starters, we'll start on the defensive side. How are you prioritizing just the rapid integration of these new defensive personnel, but keeping those high standards of like red zone defense and tackles for loss in January 2024?
Yeah, thanks, Justin, for the question. You know, I think it starts with how you do anything, how you do everything. And for me, that's, you know, how we come into the building, how we attack practice, how we attack meetings. And we got to set that foundation before we ever get into third down defense, red zone defense, tempo offense. You know, if we can't participate in those things correctly and attack that the right way, then nothing else matters. So that's kind of where our foundation is. You know, I talked about our focus in the offseason, been playing with relentless effort, and that's got to be it. The effort, the energy you play with. And you look back, and I get asked this a lot, like what changed in 24? What changed from early in the season to late in the season? And we really just focused on how we do things, you know, playing for each other, playing with great effort, playing with great energy. And that was huge for us, and you know, that was a lesson that we all learned, and it was successful for us, and we're just definitely going to take that into 2025.
Stay here on the right with Richard Walker.
Richard Walker, Carolina Sports House. Obviously, one of the local guys you got, your defensive coach, Damian Wilson, highly rated recruit, goes to SEC, comes back to you. Now he's a preseason all-conference pick. How much is he giving your defense? And I'm assuming you as a defensive guy were involved in that kind of comeback to home state recruit.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. Yeah, a local from Gastonia down the road, Damian Wilson. Day went to the zoo. I recruited him out of high school, and I think it's very important anytime, you know, we have a chance to bring a young man from the state of North Carolina back home and back to East Carolina is pretty special. And Day is one of those guys that, you know, started in the bowl game for us, played a lot last season, may not be considered a returning starter, but in my mind, he is a starter for us. I'm really excited about this season for him. And I can see just in the off season, like the way he works out, attacks things, attacks practice, just the maturity level. You can tell, you know, a lot of young men going in their last season, kind of a different mindset. And Day certainly has that mindset right now. And looking forward to him leading our defense. He'll obviously wear the coach the player communication for us and kind of run the calls there. So I'm looking forward to that.
We have some questions towards the back on that right side, 5th row, over here in the little straight ahead. 2 in that row. We'll go with you.
Coach Steve and I go with Hoist Kellers. Just, you guys brought in a lot of the transfers as well. Just curious, maybe if you could pick one on each side of the ball that has really stood out, not only on the field but just like fitting in the locker room quickly.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. You know, it's an honor to have this in North Carolina. A lot of our local media gets to attend. A lot of our fans. I've been walking the hallways and see a lot of purple and gold out there, and just bumping into some of those folks. And that's been pretty special for our student athletes as well. And usually back in Greenville, Stephen's the first question, so I'm a little disappointed he wasn't today. But yeah, we've added several new faces to both sides of the football, and really excited about those young men and how they're fitting into our locker room, not just from an athletic standpoint, but from a culture, how they bought into it's about the team, and it's about each other, and what we can do to help each other and help us win football games. Obviously, we lost some key spots at receivers. We got some key returning receivers. Quez Petaway is a guy that came in January, a slot receiver that's done some really good things at times, and just really looking forward to how much he's progressed from spring ball to preseason camp. I think sometimes when you bring a transfer in, they're kind of getting a new scheme or new lingo, and it can be a little bit different for them. So in the spring, sometimes they kind of don't flash as much as they should, and all of a sudden you come out to preseason camp, and next thing you know, like, they turn some heads. He's certainly done that, some individual drills, and a few times, and just looking forward to him doing that, a little bit more this preseason camp and this season. And on the defensive side of the ball, there's numerous new faces there, but we had the opportunity to bring back a couple of players that been at East Carolina, Tegan Wilk and Xavier McGyver, and two of my favorite players. I think they play the game the right way. They know what East Carolina is about. They love being a Pirate, and I think they're going to do a great job representing Pirate Nation.
We're going to stay in the row, and then back to Richard.
Joshua Killian here with the Boneyard Podcast. Good to see you, Coach.
Good to see you guys.
Just a quick question. We've had a little bit of a rivalry with NC State for a few years here. Some would call it a rivalry, some wouldn't. But yesterday I had a quote from head coach at NC State. Just would you like to respond or just have any comment? Looking forward to that game.
Yeah, appreciate you being here. Our main focus for the 2025 season is not necessarily about our opponents right now. It's about us, and it's about how much better we can be every single day. We got 34 days until August 28th, but we got a lot of work to do, and we got a long ways to go. We got to push every single day to get better and better. Then when you get to your opponent, whichever week that may be, that's going to be the biggest game of the year because it's the next game. And we all have that competitive mindset that we want to win and we want to take care of business. And but right now, that's the mindset, and our opponent is us and taking care of us and see how much better we can get next week during preseason camp.
Same side of the room, one row back, and then we have one behind.
Coach Chance Geyer in the Power Pulse. You talked about all the new players you brought in. You brought in a new DC, new quarterbacks coach, new strength coach. Just how has that turnover been from inside the locker room, and how are those guys bonding with the players?
It's awesome. When you take over mid-season, it's kind of like you're just trying to keep it glued together, and you're trying to keep everybody in a positive mindset in the right direction, pulling together. In the off-season, whether it's through staff changes or how you go about your business and the culture and different things, you're putting your stamp on it, and you're putting your fingerprints fully engraved on it. And on the field, we were very fortunate to keep most of our staff intact. I had corners coach leave and brought Teron Williams back. They've been at East Carolina. I've worked at 2 different institutions with him. And then Josh Aldridge took my place as defensive coordinator, and just the energy he's bringing has been outstanding. So just really fired up about our staff. Mason in the weight room has been awesome. The young men love him in there, and just seeing their bodies change and grow has added confidence in there as well. So the main thing is just like in our locker room, we make it about the team, we make it about each other, and growing for each other, and that's been pretty special.
One question, last row behind.
Hey, Blake, David Hill with ESPN. I don't want to piggyback too much on the question about Dave Doran's comments, but within that, he also referred to the way that game ended in the aftermath as the most embarrassed he'd ever been as a head coach. I'm curious how you addressed that with your team afterwards, and that you are going to play them in week 1 again. How do you sort of talk about being emotional, but not letting the emotions kind of come to the forefront in a game like that, where there is some in-state rivalry emotions involved?
Yeah, thanks, David, for the question. It's a very competitive game, and there's a lot of emotions and energy that gets built up into the game. We talk to our players all the time. No matter what happens in life, positive event, negative event, at some point we got to forget the event and learn the lesson. And I think that's a valuable lesson there. There's no place for how that game ended, and probably maybe got blown more out of proportion than it really was. But at the same time, there's no place for that. Sportsmanship needs to be at the forefront of what we do. It's a very unique opportunity that you finish the season with the same opponent you're going to open the season with. But at the same time, it's a different roster for both them and us. And it'll be a great atmosphere up there in Raleigh on August 28th. Looking forward to it, and we got to make sure we play the game the right way.